You and Your Young Child, a program of information and services available for you and your child from prenatal to age 5. You and Your Young Child has been brought to you in part by the Sternberg Museum of Natural History.
Stop! Where are we going?
The Sternberg!
Don't get left behind. We're waiting for you here at the Sternberg Museum, where there's always new opportunities for
discovery under the dawn.
Hello, and welcome to You and Your Young Child, the program devoted to early childhood. My name is Dana Stanton, and I'm the coordinator of early childhood grants for USD 489. And with me today is Dr. Romereim. Good morning, Doctor.
Morning.
Now, first of all, tell us, what organization do you work for?
I work for High Plains Mental Health Center here in Hayes.
All right. Now, today we're going to talk about early childhood mental health, and I know to some people that's sort of a mystery and they wonder if there is such a thing. So I guess the first question is, what is the first sign, or how do parents know when they need to seek help for their child?
I think any time that they aren't sure what's going on, if they're struggling, they're not sure if what the child is doing is normal or abnormal, it's worth asking somebody about it. Mm-hmm. And I think the first people to check with, when you're not sure what's going on with your child, just perhaps might be other parents, friends, neighbors, grandparents, people at church. Hey, did your kid do this? My kid's doing that. He's eating glue. Is that okay?
Is this normal? Or
right, yeah. Because especially with young parents, with young kids for the first time, you don't know if what your child is doing is normal or is abnormal.
Now, what are some of the warning signs, things that might be a red flag that, yeah, this is something that maybe you should talk to someone about?
I guess if a child keeps doing things that are perhaps dangerous to themselves or somebody else, or also the parents are just flat out don't know what to do next. They're perplexed. They don't know where to go. Those are times to seek, ask for professional help and see if there's something that they can do to help the child figure out and help the parents figure out what to do to help the child.
Now, say that you've got to the point where you've taken that step and you've made a call, you've called someone at High Plains Mental Health Center. What are the options that are at High Plains that are available to a parent and that child, their family? What are some things that are available to them?
The first thing that they do is meet with a therapist and work with a therapist, and that's absolutely the first thing we do, especially with young children, is just work with therapists on helping the parents understand the child's behavior and trying to figure out different ways to improve or help the child's behavior.
I know a lot of times I'll hear people say early mental health for children, and they don't even think that that's an option. But you made a good point that sometimes it's the parents that need to have that assistance as well to help deal with that child. I
think, yeah, really at that age, preschool age, therapy for children is very, very limited. Really what we need to do is help the parents know how to parent that child. And since no child comes with instructions, and some children really need instructions.
All the Stanton kids. Go ahead, Doctor.
Okay. It's just a matter of helping the parents understand why the child's doing what they're doing and figuring out different ways to help shape the child's behavior to a healthier behavior and a more desirable behavior.
Now, I know it's somewhat controversial. What about medications? And what sort of circumstance, or I guess just speak to us about medications for young children.
Medications really are the last step, absolutely, when all else has failed. And what I tell people all the time also is medicines don't teach people anything. And there are some times when medicines may be important, may be indicated for young children, but really it's the last step when all the behavioral methods haven't succeeded. And even when you use medication, behavioral methods should continue to be used as well, since medicines don't teach anybody anything. And in extreme cases where medicines might be indicated, is really where a child is just so out of control or uncontrollable that they really can't, that they're not safe, that they're endangering their lives, the lives of somebody else. And I've also seen a few kids that really can't sleep more than a few hours a night, which is very, very extreme. And when a child's only sleeping 3 or 4 hours a night, and a lot of parents say that kids don't sleep much, but they really do. The parents just don't sleep much because the kids wake them up off and on during the night.
Yes.
But but it's very, very rare, but there are a few children that just don't sleep more than a few hours a night, and you can tell by the way they look and the way they act. In that case, medication for sleep might be indicated.
Now, we're going to put the number for High Plains Mental Health Center across the bottom of the screen. So now I always ask this, are the services, what is the cost of the services at High Plains? Now, and I know.
That's not one of the yeah, there's a sliding fee scale.
A sliding fee scale.
Right, and no one has refused services because of inability to pay.
Yes, and we know that, of course. Now, any final words for our parents out there? I would assume not to be afraid to ask questions and follow up.
I think the biggest thing is, again, no child comes with instructions, and a lot of parents don't know if what the child is doing is normal or not, and asking somebody else that knows a lot about children is a good place to start. And this way, it's also very important, I think, when children get into social situations, that really helps parents see what other kids are like, and it also gets a more objective point of view. Even if you have 3 or 4 kids of your own, you still don't know if what your children are doing is normal compared to other children.
Of course.
So that's where preschool teachers and kindergarten teachers are very, very helpful to help a parent know that your child may or may not be within the range of normal childhood behavior. And so a lot of times I just encourage parents to try to wait out until the child gets into those kind of situations. And then if their preschool teacher or the kindergarten teacher says, you know, your child seems to be struggling more than other children, perhaps you want to seek out some help for them, then it's time to listen to that. But not to jump to conclusions that their child is abnormal just because they've never seen the child's behavior before, because they don't have as many children to
compare
to as somebody who's dealt with hundreds and hundreds of children over the years.
Well, that is wonderful information. Thank you for being with us today.
Yep.
You've been watching You and Your Young Child, the program devoted to early childhood. Parents, remember, you are your child's first and best teacher. Thank you.
You and Your Young Child, a program of information and services available for you and your child from prenatal to age 5. You and Your Young Child has been brought to you in part by the Sternberg Museum of Natural History.